It's great to have you guys back on the show. This is the first time we've ever had all four of you because we've got Jeff, Donovan, Harrison, and Joey all on the line. It's the band Set for the Fall. We're excited to have you guys back.
What's up? Yo. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. And of course, a really good reason for us to be talking to you, which I almost missed because I was like, man, I need to get some. Who haven't I had in a while? I'm like, oh, I haven't had Set for the Fall on for a while. They're supposed to be having an album coming out soon. Then I was like, wait, we can have them on right in time for their album to drop. So we're excited about the new record, and the timing is great. So it's called Still Just Breathing, and I love the graphic on it. And what I've heard of it thus far has been good. But how do you guys feel about it at this point?
We're super pumped about it.
Extremely excited.
Yeah, definitely stoked. It's going to be awesome.
Sweet.
It's going to be okay.
Well, now the last time we had you guys on, y'all were in the midst of writing, and I think maybe even doing a little bit of recording and kind of some finagling, like who was going to be involved in the record, as opposed to like people outside the band who are going to either be producing, recording, and all that kind of stuff. But I remember we talked about a few things that you were like, well, we're excited because we liked our last record, but this is the first one where we've had like the lineup that we have now, and we're really excited because we think we're going to do these things different. So now that the album is done, what would you say is different between this one and y'all's last release?
I think it's a true collab, as you know, the other one was kind of done in pieces and done at different times. I mean, this is all kind of like, it's a brainchild of everybody in this band. I mean, Donovan, Jeff, and Harrison bring so much influence that I don't have, and kind of, you know, woke me up from the way I normally write and pushed me to write better. And I feel like it was the same for everybody, but that's just me personally. I really enjoy the record.
Cool. What about the rest of you guys?
I think it definitely shows a different sound, different, like the last record was very radio, and this one is kind of, it's still just as radio and just as rock, but it's got just heavier influences, more melodic. So I don't know, there's just a lot more to this record than the last one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's more of a mature step forward for us, sound-wise.
Yeah, we really pushed ourselves a lot with this record, way more than 3 nails, and I think it shows.
I ate a lot of Top Ramen to do that too.
Oh yeah, so much.
Which is funny because Donovan, I thought you just lived off Chipotle.
Oh gosh, I love Chipotle.
It got too expensive. We were broke halfway through the record. We were like, all right, Top Ramen it is.
Okay, so from each one of you, what is your preferred flavor of Top Ramen?
Creamy chicken, bro. Creamy chicken all day, man.
Creamy chicken.
I'm actually not a fan of ramen that much.
Get at it.
He still ate it though. He ate that styrofoam cup.
I will put a bunch of hot sauce in it. That's what I do. It's just drench it.
Load that thing up with some sriracha.
There you go. There you go. I'm all about that. I also used to be the guy who would eat ramen at work at one of the past radio stations I worked at, and I would also bring like an inexpensive bag of shredded cheese, and I would sprinkle a little bit of that into it, and so everything ended up being like a meat flavored mac and cheese.
Ooh, get some mac and cheese. Oh, also, I like to.
You don't even know.
I make gourmet ramen, so I will like fry some sausage and cut it up and put it in there, like in bits.
But during the recording, there was none of that happening.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Well, now it's been a while since we've talked last, so I don't even know that I would necessarily remember off the top of my head if you guys had nailed it down. But who did you guys end up recording with, and how did you feel like that went?
We went back with Brandon Mills and John Harrell that did 3 nails for us. You know, they did a fantastic job on 3 nails that we just couldn't go with anybody because we already had that chemistry together. They knew what we wanted. And when we went in, it was kind of just, it was a lot easier walking in the second time because they already knew what we were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, we had definitely built a foundation with them. And like he said, they knew what we wanted, but they knew we wanted to get bigger and bolder. And, you know, they believed in us. So they worked really, really hard and for a very long time. You know, a lot of times I would say at their own expense, help us get this record to be as good as it is, you know. So we definitely want to give them a shout out and tell them we love them and thank you for all the many the many hours spent on this record.
Very cool. And for those listeners who don't know, Brandon Mills is a guitarist for Decipher Down as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. He was surprisingly chill. I got to have him on the show one time, and I was just amazed at how chill he was.
Yeah, wait till you get hot chocolate in him, and then he starts going crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, and also, he's from Florida, right?
No, he's from North Carolina.
Oh, he's from North Carolina too. Okay. See, it's weird because I think the reason why I thought he was from Florida is because I have burned in my head for whatever reason these pictures they took of him like digging up a palm tree in Florida.
We were there
to take home.
We were there. Yeah, we were. He brought that palm back to his house. I don't know if it made it or not.
It did. Yeah, it did for sure. Because I had to ask.
Yeah, there was an ice storm while we were there recording, and a lot of the indigenous trees there just couldn't handle the cold temperatures.
Oh no!
So.
Oh no! Well, that's no good. Sheesh.
We had a snowball fight when we were there. It was sick.
Yeah, 2:00 in the morning.
It was the first time I ever had a snowball fight.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the beach in North Carolina.
At the beach.
Hashtag things that only happen when you're in a band.
Right.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh dear, that's crazy. That is crazy. I love it though. So back to the new record. It's of course called "Still Just Breathing." You guys are doing an album release show, which by the time people will have heard this interview, this will be like either the day of or the day after the show, or very close adjacent. Tell us about how you guys feel about the new music and going into that album release show, since we're talking about before.
Well, I mean, we're practicing for a week straight starting today.
Nice.
For that show. So hopefully everything works out and it's going to sound pretty sick. But
I'm excited for the energy of the new music for sure.
Oh yeah.
And like how it's going to be like taken in live by like.
Well, I feel like the new songs, I mean, like I said, they have a life of their own. Each song kind of has its own, groove, and like I said, on this record with some of the special features and stuff like that, when people pick that up, I think people are going to get really excited about where this band is headed, because, I mean, for the next 2 years, our plan is to tour this album as much as possible. So we're really excited to give our hometown crowd a first look at what this album's hopefully going to bring over the next couple of years.
Very cool. Now, is there any one song on the record that is a standout, like you can't wait for people to hear it live?
Counting Stars.
Yeah, Counting Stars.
I like that. Sweet deal.
For sure.
I always find it interesting to talk to bands like once a record is done as compared to like when it's in progress, because it always feels like things is the only thing that's guaranteed is that things will change. But looking back on the finished product, knowing that it's just about to drop, from each of you, would you say is your single most favorite thing or moment from the record?
That's a tough question.
Wow, that is a tough question. Dom, you want to go first?
I'm still thinking.
I mean,
mine would be, this is Joey. Mine would definitely be just the fact that people that, not even like people, I mean, I definitely look up to them, but people that have been brought into the band, influences and stuff. The fact that the day that Donovan came into the band, he started talking about Memphis Mayfire and all that stuff. Certain people that got attached to this project, and just being able to go out and tour with these bands that we look up to and stuff like that. I mean, just the fact that some of them are actually on the record is quite amazing to me, that we are in a position where we can ask this of people and they're like, yeah, sure, we'd like to be a part of it. And it's like, what? Really? Mm. All right, cool. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely the features on, like, I grew up listening to Memphis Mayfire, and like sometimes I forget that he's even on our record, and it's the first track on the record, so I'll be listening to it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Matty Mullins from Memphis Mayfire. Like, I remember being 14 and going and seeing Memphis Mayfire. Like, it's just nuts.
Very cool. Very cool.
Jeffrey?
Yeah. Man, I just think it's cool that it's like the first time I've ever recorded like with
That's right.
first, like I wasn't a part of recording Three Nails at all or writing any of that music.
Wait.
So I'm just like,
You mean to say your first record? This gets to be your first record? I am so jealous.
yeah, right? Yeah,
I
exactly.
forgot.
It's
I
crazy.
thought you'd been
Yeah. So it's just crazy to think that like the first thing that I've been a part of is like this, like I don't know, just this good. This like I said, it blows your mind that four dudes can come together and write something that like have no connection to each other really before, and you just pull out like just banger after banger after banger. I don't know.
Right.
It's really cool.
I think one of my favorite moments while recording the album, well, not really recording it, but working on the music for the album was when we were writing. We locked ourselves in a basement for about a week at a friend's house, and
while we were on tour.
Yeah, and Harrison just started playing this riff, which became Liar, and we literally finished that song in 1 or 2
5
takes.
minutes.
Yeah. And that was insane. I guess it's one of those times that you're just like, wow, that was really easy. You know, that just
we ended
came.
up we ended up writing almost half. I would say almost half of the record on that.
About 5 songs.
5 songs in the basement. I think one got written at Sweetwater while we were at Sweetwater, and and then
I think one got written at Sweetwater while we were at Sweetwater too.
Yeah.
No, there was definitely one at Sweetwater though, for sure.
Wow.
Like while we were there.
At Sweetwater?
But guys, did you write one while you were at Sweetwater? I think that's what everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
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 It was a Sweetwater.
We don't make any money for the Sweetwater plug either.
But if you would like
love
to
them.
sponsor the band,
I mean, you go to that place and it's like, okay, if you're a musician, you're just like, wow, this is Disney World.
Definitely.
very cool, very cool. Since you guys brought up Liar and kind of how that came together so quickly, and since that's one of the 2 songs we're going to play from you guys during the show, talk to us about that song and kind of like what went into it, aside from it just being really fast and kind of some of the, I guess some of the meaning behind it as well.
To basically sum it up, it's about people who don't practice what they preach. And we just, through years of touring and stuff, we've come in contact with a lot of people that don't practice what they preach. And not saying that we are a perfect career or anything like that, but it's just you see things and it affects you in a certain way, and it's
like,
the easiest way is to just put it on paper and put it on a song.
So we've seen a lot, and we're pretty honest with the fact that, hey, we're not perfect, but when we make mistakes, I mean, we'll own it. We'll own it, and we'll say we're sorry and stuff like that. It's just when a lot of that song also, like I said, it has to do with the fact of just being dishonest with yourself and not being true to yourself and what you believe. That song was kind of like therapy for us. I mean, we've been touring, and like you said, we've seen so much that we kind of needed to write it to kind of get it off of our chest, so it could become a chapter in our life and not our whole life.
Right.
So we wanted to write it, put it on paper. There's that thought. We've dealt with it. Now, we can move on from these situations and stuff like that. So.
Right. Well, towards that end, and I'm going to try to say this in a way that doesn't step on anybody's toes, not yours, but maybe possibly listeners. But I spend a decent amount of time in my car, and so I listen to a decent amount of podcasts, and some of the ones that I listen to end up, just because the nature of the specific show, end up talking to a lot of band members from Christian rock bands of like the 90s and early 2000s, and a good chunk of these members tend to have left the faith. And they're like, I like a lot about it, but many of them cite the way that they were either treated or things that they saw at churches where they played as a reason for them having left the faith and no longer wanting to be a part of the Christian community in any way, even though they have these very strong ties through either family or even previous bandmates and the industry that they were a part of for a long time.
I can see where that comes from, but my faith is my relationship with God.
Right.
Yeah, that has nothing.
There's no brick and mortar. There's no building that's going to keep me from having a relationship with God. But I can agree that we've seen things. I mean, we've been asked to not play a second time at a church just because they didn't like our style. But hey, that's on them.
Right.
We have our style, and we play to a lot of the unchurched. That's kind of what we've been called to do.
Right.
But I think sometimes in the Christian world there is a judgmental, which is crazy because that's not what we've been called to do.
Right.
But it can be off-putting towards certain people.
Yeah.
And it can leave a bad taste in your mouth. You don't want to be fake. Day you have a bad day, but you got to realize even if we have bad days, we still have to go out there and perform, and things can happen in our life, but it's still a job as well.
Right.
So it's just dependent on how the situations are handled, and if churches understand and work with you on things, and the other bands that we've met, I mean, everybody has bad days, and we understand that. We just ask that, we try to always be honest with people about what we're going through, what we're dealing with. And, we love everybody, man. We really do. But, just certain situations are, I don't know how to put it. Like you just have to go through things in this life and in this industry. You're going to meet people that are out for money. You're going to meet people that are in it for the ministry,
Right.
So, that's just how it is.
Right. Well, unless it come across like I'm just trying to church bash, because I'm really not. I guess kind of what I was getting at with all that is how do you balance the whole, like, I think to me, it seems like in a way it's the whole, like, yes, constantly having to remind yourself, like you said, that people aren't perfect, and that, we're people too, and that we're also not perfect. And you're probably seeing most of these people for maybe 10 hours out of their life. And if, you can't assume that that's how they are all the time, but how do you keep those incidents that do happen, which are not all the time, but how do you keep incidents like that to keep you from, I guess, thinking differently about your faith in a bad way?
Well, I mean, I feel like, at the end of the day, we're all just regular dudes, and, God's in my life, so he's a part of it. But, we go through, tour after tour, and then we play venues, churches, and we meet all kinds of people. So when you meet all kinds of people, you know how to deal with all kinds of people. And, I don't know. I think because we're just four regular dudes, I don't think it's really affected us as bad.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
we can
not
resonate
like
a lot of people.
We're not going to leave the Christian industry or any, like, if we do anything, it's like, hey, we're just trying to reach a broader audience, but it doesn't change who we are and what we believe. And we're not going to start writing lyrics differently to fit this, it's like, we're just ourselves,
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Yeah. Like one thing I do appreciate about us as a band is that we're all 100% real on and off stage.
I'm annoying everywhere.
There's not really a good difference. Like if you meet us in one place, we're nice, pretty much the exact same way at our house, like everywhere. There's a disconnect between, it's just we're all the same person all the time.
Yeah. Well, I will testify to that because I met you guys for like Chipotle and Starbucks when you guys came through Nashville about a year or so ago, and you guys act exactly the same.
That's when they had that unicorn frappuccino or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I missed that.
I missed it.
That's good stuff. I mean, the unicorn frappuccino isn't, but
Donovan remembers it.
Yes, I love Chipotle.
You remember that lead in Mistakes?
I do. I got it.
Fired. We have
Remember that
rehearsal,
next time you're watching TV.
tonight, so I've got to remember all the lyrics to all these new songs. That's the big one for this weekend.
Oh,
Out.
fun.
Every lyric you mess up, you're getting a slap with a ruler.
I hear you.
Oh, that's funny.
The back of my hand will be quite red. Hey, they don't know the songs yet, so I can just, sing any words I want.
Whoa, hold on. Say.
I think you should just rewrite one of the songs to just be just purely insulting to one specific band member and just let it go. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we've talked about Liar. Since we're going to be playing Breathe Again, which is the single, and there's also a video for it. We'll chat about that just real quick in a minute too. But talk to us about Breathe Again. What do we need to know about that song?
That was the first song we wrote for the new album. Before,
I think like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was even before Three Nails was released. We started working on that song.
You know, that song, and there's another song. We also wanted to make sure that there were a couple songs on the record that, you know, that were close to the kind of, I mean, obviously they're sonically better and stuff like that. We've learned so much, but they were close to the style of the last album. We think that these are closer to the style, but definitely have their own unique sound. But the song itself, you know, if you watch the video and stuff like that, you know, you reach this point in your faith or even anywhere where you're just like, you know, is this working? Sometimes you just feel like you've taken on all this stuff and you don't know if you can do it well, you know, and you're just saying, God, I just want to be able to breathe again. And then, you know, you realize that he has conquered everything. You know, there's no reason to fear anything in this world that life throws at you, because at the end of it, all you're doing is, you know, you're fearing for no reason, because he's won all the battles, you know. And as you'll see in the video and stuff at the very end, you know, it's like, you know, it's like the fear of fear itself. There's no reason to, you know, to be afraid, because you have this awesome God on your side, and, you know, you can conquer anything. So that's just
a lot of the record was written about, you know, mental health and dealing with own personal battles. And like, we're very, you know, we try to play to those kids that, you know, may be struggling with mental health issues or just sad or depressed or whatever. So we wrote that song and a couple of the songs on the record for those kind of people, you know, just because, you know, we know how you feel.
Yep.
Awesome.
I mean, we've all been there. I really feel like a lot of people in bands have visited those places, and that's where some of the best creativity and music comes from.
Yeah. Now, with all of the kind of what the country is dealing with as a whole right now is just kind of these random people who a lot of times do have mental health issues, you know, getting their hands on a firearm and then, you know, just making it their goal to take people with them on their way out. Is there any sort of, I guess, added pressure with that being kind of the state of things towards writing music that deals with that?
No, I mean, if anything, it's like, can we write more? Can we write something that will take the gun or make the person, you know, put it down? I mean, like, if we could write anything, you know, I hope that this record gives enough kids, young adults who are struggling with depression, suicidal thoughts, anything, a reason to say, hey, you know, if I can get to tomorrow, things can get better. You know, if I could just reach out and talk to somebody, things might be better. You know, before I make a decision, I should just go talk to somebody. You know, I should reach out with anything but violence to see if I can, you know, find some peace in my heart. You know, so I mean, that's what we're about. You know, like I said, a lot of our lyrics, you know, people might say, "Oh, that's an angry." Well, it sounds angry. But if you listen to the lyrics, you look at the lyrics and stuff like that, you realize that, you know, all of this album and even some of the earlier stuff that we wrote is written because it's like, look, we've gone through something and we figured out how to get past it. We just want to pass
I think the best way to sum it up is that we wrote it like where we were at, and we wrote it to meet people where they were at. Like, so
yeah,
you kind of write it from a like slightly dark place that you're at, that you can reach somebody that's in a way worse off state than you are.
Yeah.
And I just writing music to help you where you at, like where you are, you know?
Sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, guys, I think that's fantastic. And I think that that's a good way of looking at it. And I think there needs to be more of that in the world, because it's amazing how it never fails that people are surprised whenever, especially like a celebrity or somebody, does commit suicide or ODs, it never ceases to amaze me how many people are surprised. And I know a lot of that is just, it's PR and image, and you always want to put forth this image of positivity, or like everything's great, but at the same time, even people who knew them a lot of times don't seem like they saw it coming. And I think that that's one great thing about music is it's not necessarily that you have to know that, this person in another town who you may never have met is having a problem and be able to reach out to them personally. You are sending out something that can be a good influence on them and maybe some positivity in their life that, you may never meet them. You may never know them. They may never even tell you that it made a difference. But at the same time, that you are putting that out there almost like a positive message in a bottle. And that there's going to be somebody who's going to connect with that. And I think that's really cool.
Right.
Yeah, don't even care if you know who I am. Like, don't care if you know who the band is. But if you hear that randomly walking down the street and it does something to you, like, that's what I care about.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the video for Breathe Again. I got a chance to watch it a little while back, and I enjoyed it and it was fun. But what went into that? What was the process like with that video?
Showing up with sweat. Yeah, lots of sweat. Showing up.
A lot of sweat.
And letting Nathan he did an amazing job on that video. I mean, he's just talented. He's worked with a lot of bands, and I had no clue what it was going to come out like. I mean, I'd seen his other stuff, but it was awesome working with him. We're hopefully going to be working with him very soon again. We're definitely wanting to shoot some more videos. So it was great.
Sweet deal. I like it. Now, what is the plan from here? I mean, you guys have the album release show, but by the time people will hear this, that will have happened, which will be really fantastic. And the album should be out and people should be able to get it. What's the next step at this point?
We have a tour coming up soon that we can't really talk about yet, but it's coming out.
Okay, cool. Can you give just kind of a general date range as when you think that tour will happen, as opposed to like specifics as like where and who else?
Early next year.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet deal. All right, well, we will expect to hear from you guys whenever that gets settled and announced, so that we can tell other people about it, so they can come and rock out at your show, man.
Absolutely.
Cool stuff. Well, guys, now the last time that we talked, I'm pretty certain I asked you about the most un-rock and roll thing about each of you, and which is always a lot of fun. And the best part about doing interviews as infrequently as I do with bands, as far as like how often they happen, is it always feels like those things change or new things get unearthed. So, and especially since last time we were short one, I want you guys to once again go through and tell you, hopefully not the same answers, but if it is the same, that's not the end of the world. But at this point in time, despite the fact that you guys have a new record coming out that we know is just going to slam, and we're really excited about it, but what is the most un-rock and roll thing about each one of you? And make sure to introduce yourself first, because we want to be able to tack this and pin this to you as much as possible.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Can I just tell you the most un-rock and roll thing about everybody else?
You know what? That's not a bad idea, but
that's a terrible idea.
Terrible.
We're going to get in a fight at practice later.
Yeah, we're gonna be fighting later.
Jeff, go ahead and tell mine. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I want to hear
I don't
this.
even know.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead and do that, Jeff.
I don't know, man. You guys are all pretty rock and roll.
Nice save, Jeff. Nice save.
Well,
thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll say this, like, I think I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's a dad in this band. I'm pretty sure. I'm
That's
not
rock and roll.
Okay. So, but being a dad, like, so I got a call the other night, and it's my wife telling me that there's going to be a huge problem when she gets home. And I was like, oh, Lord. So the daughter gets home, and she's covered in throw up, and she crapped in her car seat. So I'm sitting there for 2 hours cleaning. That's about as un-rock and roll as I've ever felt in my life, cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Classic
mine.
Joey.
Yeah.
And see what's sad about that is if it had been you that had done those things to yourself, that would be totally rock
It
and roll.
wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the last either.
Well, I could have told him the Belk story, but I didn't.
Oh, God, don't even.
Hey,
I think the most rock and roll
then-
thing that I do is, oh man, I'm gonna mess it up. It's Beyonce,
Okay.
Love on Top. If you've ever heard that song, Love on Top, I
Uh-huh.
can like hit every key. It's great. It's a great karaoke
I don't want you to do
breakout.
it.
No, I'm not doing it. You gotta meet me in karaoke somewhere. That's a you have to see it happen to see it happen sort of thing. I'm actually gonna break that out.
I hear you.
Well, if it makes you
That
feel
reminds me,
That's probably the
Jonathan.
most unrock and roll.
if it makes you feel any better, the one time I've ever done karaoke was in front of a bunch of listeners at a radio event that was in a Walmart parking lot on a professional karaoke touring like semi, and I did "Wannabe" by the Spice
Nice.
Girls, and no one got the joke at all.
That's fantastic.
Yes, I thought so. Everyone else just looked at me like, "What is up with the big bald guy, and why is he doing Spice Girls?" But you know, it's Texas, so you can never quite tell. So, all you Abilenians listening,
Right.
you guys did not laugh at me, and I'm really sad about that. All right, who wants to go next?
I can't even think.
Somebody else can
I
answer
think-
for you. That's okay.
I think Harrison's most rock and roll thing is he wears a gold chain.
Oh,
Shut up.
Yeah. So,
If you want to check
Oh,
out
wow.
the gang, go to
Oh my goodness.
Harrison SFT, and then click on the story bubble. It's
And then click on unfollow because
blocked and reported. No, so I found it. I found it at your house, Jeff. So
yeah, no,
wow.
I know where you found it.
So I found this chain and I started wearing it around, and it's like a big gold chain.
He looks like an idiot most of the time.
And I'll take pictures of myself. Like we went to a coffee shop, and I was like getting pastries with the chain, drinking a smoothie with the chain, taking a shower with the chain.
God.
And there's already memes about it. It's
Oh,
terrible.
nice.
On social media, because I'd be like, Harrison, stop. Please stop.
I'm starting. I think I'm gonna start a t-shirt company with just black shirts with a like chain on it
Around the neck? Oh my
around
God.
the neck.
You should. Oh man, you should.
Oh, fucking idiot. You're an idiot.
poor
This
man's
ruined
chain.
my-
I love
this
it.
ruined my
Russian set for the fall, Harrison. Signature shirt.
This is most of our conversations in the van.
When rock and roll doesn't do it for me anymore, and then I got to join the rap gang.
Yeah.
On the rat game.
One chain.
One chain. Not two chains, but one chain.
I don't even need to.
Dude, you can be Uno chain, bro.
I was going to say he could be Uno Blingo.
You're not.
No.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
Let's get off the topic.
Uno
Take it too
chain's
far.
going platinum.
Oh,
No, he's not.
going aluminum.
Aluminum.
Aluminum Dr. Thunder. Trying to get me started on Dr. Thunder. Go to Harrison.
All right, wait.
SFTF on
Who else?
Instagram.
Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell. Who else hooked us up?
What
Yeah.
you say?
Walmart, Red Bull Records.
What are you talking
No.
about right now?
Just kidding.
I don't even know anymore. Oh dear. I feel like we're missing one. I feel like we've heard
Oh.
three. Who are we missing?
That's me.
Donovan?
No, I think we're also here. Donovan,
Where are you, Jeff? What is happening?
I'm right here.
No,
I can't think of what I would
your
do.
story.
What?
Your story. I got one for you. Can I tell Donovan?
I don't trust Joey telling
It
stories.
depends.
Hey, you had a Belk moment.
Oh, no. No.
That's as rock and roll as you can get.
When are you the most on rock and roll?
I don't know. I mean, not that I'm
All
not.
the time.
On Fortnite?
Dude, Fortnite's live.
Gross.
Like a
Plays
12-year-old kid.
Fortnite with Aaron Pauli. You can't. That's pretty.
That's
rap.
That's kind of rock and roll. It's more metalcore than anything.
Yeah. I don't know what I.
Well, let's put it this way. You're married, right?
I'm not married.
Oh, you're not? For some reason, I thought you were married. Okay, never mind.
No.
He's got a boyfriend.
His name is Harrison.
probably the
TF on
most
Instagram.
Oh my goodness. Well, what is the one thing that like you find yourself doing and you just look at yourself and without feeling too full of yourself, you say, I'm in a band. I play music in front of people and they're like really excited about it, but yet I'm still doing this and this doesn't feel like it fits.
Huh.
Washington.
Come on, Donovan.
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, the one thing I did have, it was because I would baby my cat when my cat passed away, so I don't have that no more.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, now we're all
you're bringing
depressed.
up
Thanks,
bad
Donovan.
memories.
Come on.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'll tell my story. The one Joey's talking about.
Okay.
It's pretty
God.
pretty out of there.
God.
I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail like Joey.
Yeah, don't go into detail.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I don't think I know this story.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was, so GFM, you know GFM. They've been
Yes,
on-
yes,
they've
I
been
do,
On the show. They actually came to North Carolina for a show, and it was only like 15 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
So for where I live at, and so I went and showed up, and I went to go see them. And so I was at like this billiards place, like bar billiards, and I got like some jalapeno poppers over there. And so I mean it's bar food, so it's pretty greasy,
Right.
whatever. And so on the way home, my stomach started a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? Because I didn't know what was going on. I got to the point where I was probably 3 blocks away from my house that I had to stop off into the woods.
Oh no.
It was to that point where I couldn't make it home, and I was only 3 blocks away. That I had to pull off into the woods. Yeah.
So let me ask
pretty
you
unrational.
this. Not from the same place, obviously, but like if it was from a reputable establishment, would you ever order jalapeno poppers again?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Okay.
I love spicy food.
Yeah,
I just
that's not even
don't know. I mean, but that was also because later on that night, me and Marshall, we went from Relentless Flood. We went to Waffle House.
Uh-huh.
That's
So I
what
think
did it.
it was just like a combination of like.
Yeah.
jalapeno
things.
poppers and waffle.
Now, have you heard about Waffle House the way like I guess it's is it Fina? Not Fina. That's a gas station. What is it? The emergency government agency that goes around and they go to like where there's hurricanes and whatnot and they take control of the situation. Who am I thinking
Like
of?
FEMA.
FEMA, not Fina. FEMA. There we go. I was so close. Have you heard that like FEMA actually has the Waffle House how do you put the Waffle House scale? Have you heard about this?
If you don't flick
I
your
haven't.
cigarette ash into my hash browns, then I don't want it.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
That's
the
type
whole
of
thing
Waffle House
that
everybody should know and love.
yeah, the one thing that they say is like, as long as Waffle House is still open, it's not a complete catastrophe yet. They said Waffle House is the cockroach of the restaurant kingdom because if they are closed,
yeah.
it has gotten terrible.
They just live forever.
We had a really bad hurricane come through, and I was stuck at Jeff's house for like 5 days with like 8 other
It was
people.
great.
And the
It
only
was
place
fantastic.
that stayed open was Waffle House. My parents called me. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just stuck here." And they're like, "Oh, we're at Waffle House with 80 other people."
Yep,
Great.
you got it. Oh man, well, cool deal. I love that. I love talking about Waffle House. It's funny because my wife and I will frequently go out to eat with my in-laws, and one of the places we go to a lot is right past a Waffle House. So every time we're going to the restaurant that's not Waffle House, my father-in-law will be like, "Hey, look, Waffle House looks like they got lots of free tables, and it's a Friday night." We're like, "Yep, Ken, we're keeping going."
Roll them up.
Like, and there might be a reason or there might not, but we're going to keep moving, and that's okay. Besides, we were planning on eating a steak, and you're trying to derail us to go eat greasy eggs and bacon.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
But,
will say their All-Star is pretty good.
right.
Or American or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
The All-Star.
Yeah. I feel you.
So good.
Yeah.
The first time I ordered it, I didn't realize how much food actually came with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
Like
you're an
20
all-star.
pieces of toast, I think, or something. I don't know.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
It's the
like-
best after you go to a concert or you play a concert and then you go to Waffle House and then you're
And
just
it's
like,
it's 4 in the morning, and you still got like 2 more hours to drive. You're just like, let's just.
Yeah, it's great.
here's the cigarette butts and your eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get one fill of whatever drinks you get, so you better get whatever you really want. You're
Right.
not getting a refill.
That's right. That's right. Cool deal. Well, guys, it's been fun having you back on. I'm super excited to have gotten to chat with you
man.
guys again, and always excited to be able to hear new music from some of my faves, which of course includes you guys. So I'm thoroughly excited for other people to get to hear the new stuff, and hope that when you guys can announce the tour, that it goes over really well, and you guys have some packed out venues and get a chance to really be a presence in other people's lives. I think it's fantastic.
For sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.